Hello everyone, Paolo Nibletto here at Tech Data Canada with the President of Tech Data, Rick Reid, and the CEO of Tech Data, Bob Dutkowsky. Bob has made a special visit here to Canada. Bob, let me ask you about a very important initiative, Stream One. I hear that it's coming to Canada. Tell our audience a little bit about that.
Oh, thanks. Stream One is a really exciting initiative that we have at Tech Data. We built a tool that helps VARs select and license software in a more efficient and effective fashion. It allows VARs to serve their customer better. It allows VARs to drive up the customer satisfaction level, and it allows Tech Data to efficiently support them to deliver the right product. So that's a product that's out into the market, and it's here in Canada, and it's performing very well. The next generation of Stream On, which we just announced about 10 days ago, creates the channel's first app store.
Right.
So just like you go onto iTunes to download an app, or the Android market or the BlackBerry market, VARs need the same kind of access to a broad array of business applications. And so that's the next generation of Stream One. It's now available in the US, and it'll come to Canada later in the summer. But we think it creates a really interesting and dynamic route to market for lots of software, and it makes VARs be able to serve their customers more efficiently.
How are the rollout plans going with that, Rick?
Very well. The U.S., as Bob suggested, has announced it 10 days ago. We'll be announcing it later on this year. We've got the team set up to accommodate it in Canada, and it's always quite comfortable following the U.S. They've done the dog work, and we've got the benefit immensely from the program.
Another hot topic is mobility. What's your strategy in this growing area, Bob?
Well, mobility is one of the fastest growing technology areas in the whole IT continuum. And Tech Data decided to get into mobility in a big way about 3 years ago. We started the initiative in Europe, and with a joint venture with a company called Brightstar, which is a big cell phone distributor. We now have one of the largest cell phone distributors in all of Europe, from zero just a few short years ago. We recently announced a joint venture with Brightstar in the U.S. to bring mobility products into the channel, which we think will be a very interesting opportunity for the VAR to support, in particular, the deployment of smartphones in the SMB world. And at some point, we'll roll that product out here in Canada as well. So Tech Data has a big worldwide focus on mobility. We have partnerships with many of the most important handset manufacturers and carriers, and we think there's a whole opportunity in the mobility space because the world has become an always-on, always-connected world.
Sure has, yeah.
And the next generation of, say, the tablets that will be brought into the market are all going to be 4G and LTE enabled. They're all going to need to be activated, almost like a cell phone.
Right.
So there's a market opportunity, and then there's like a back office functional opportunity, and Tech Data is investing heavily to support those initiatives to the channel. We're really excited about mobility, and we think it's going to be a great add-on to our business model.
Rick, from a Canadian perspective, what's the mobility strategy for the solution providers here?
I'll start off by saying nobody loves mobility more than I do.
Yes, I know you do.
I'm a big fan. But I will tell you, as you well know,
Yeah.
mobility in Canada is just a little bit different than it might be elsewhere, particularly in Europe and to the extent in the U.S. as well. But, we're not ignoring it. Bob mentioned the partnership that we have with Brightstar, incredible group of very, very intelligent specialists who are identifying opportunities in Canada to partner work with us, and we're working very closely with them to identify those for the future. And you don't necessarily have to sell a handset to be in mobility either. There's lots of other things that go around that need distribution, logistics to get those products out to market. That's a big opportunity for us, we think. And we're quite proud that we were the first distributor in Canada, selected by one of the very large service providers to be an official activator of embedded notebooks and tablets. And that's been we were the first, and it's been a successful, early yet, but lots of future opportunity in that area as well.
Yeah, I think one of the misnomers is mobility equals cell phones.
Yes.
No, mobility equals a broad array of products. You can now have your car attached to a cellular network.
In-car computing.
Yeah, and so when we say mobility, we don't just mean cell phones.
Yeah.
It's much broader than that. And to Rick's point, the mobility market in Europe is radically different than the mobility market in the U.S. And the mobility market in Canada is different than the U.S. market. One of Tech Data's strategies is to let the individual markets and our individual companies adjust to the market Tech Data sits in Clearwater, Florida, and says, focus on mobility. In Canada, that's Rick's job to figure out how to do that. We'll support him with tools and techniques, but his job is to match up the strengths of Tech Data Canada with the Canadian market,
Right.
as he's done in the data center, as he's done in the broadline market, as he's done in the software market. And we know Rick will find the right opportunities here in Canada in the mobility space. It's fundamental to our strategy to let the flowers bloom. And Rick has done that exceptionally well here in Canada in lots of other environments, and he'll do that in mobility.
Okay, well, on that vein, that's the end of part one of our special interview with Bob Dutkowsky and Rick Reid. In part two, I'm going to ask Bob if there's an avenue to partner with Apple. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. I'm Paolo Nibletto for CDN Computer Dealer News.